Hi, I'm Jessica, and I'm here with Richardson LSAT prep student Alexandra. So, when did you start the course, and when did you write the LSAT?
I started the course in June and I wrote the LSAT in October, and that was with the early bird option, which was actually very, very helpful to me. It, in a way, got me thinking about the LSAT, but not thinking about it to the point where I was stressed out about it, as though I needed to write it right away, I needed to practice right away, and I need to do it now. You start thinking about the course a long time before you write the LSAT. And for me, I found that actually helpful because I didn't really know what I was doing yet at this point. So kind of just thinking about the LSAT before actually studying intensively helped to kind of calm my nerves and get me ready for the actual intense studying process.
What was your favorite thing about the course?
Well, I think the important thing to realize is when you're taking an LSAT prep program, you are taking an LSAT prep program. It's not going to be the most exciting thing you're going to do. But the Richardson program was fun in a way. We laughed and we acknowledged the fact that this wasn't something that we wanted to be doing, but it's something that needed to get done. So in taking all of that into consideration, it was nice to be able to come to an atmosphere where people aren't uptight and it's not sort of a lecture format. It's just you come there to learn the strategies that you need to learn and trying to make it as hassle-free as possible. So I really appreciated that part.
What kind of strategies does John recommend for the LSAT and for the law school process in general?
Well, for the LSAT specifically, there are a few strategies, obviously, but I think probably the most helpful one that seems to help mostly every student, I thought, was just how to approach any LSAT question, which is, what are you being asked, why, and what are the answer choices? If you can kind of figure that out, I think you're well on your way to performing well in the LSAT. So that was really helpful. And in terms of the application process in general, he offers a lot of seminars that will benefit students, such as the personal statement seminar. It was something that we all needed to do. We needed to write a personal statement. We had a certain amount of words that we could use. Which words are we supposed to say, you know? So he kind of helped clarify what the admissions committees generally look for and what kind of impression you're trying to make. So that was very beneficial, I thought.
Did you do any external studying when you were preparing for the LSAT?
Between June and October, I had a lot of time to kind of prepare for myself, by myself. And because I started the early bird option, I knew what my weaknesses were. So I could work on my weaknesses and then come back and kind of try to figure out what else I needed to work on. And also because it's on the weekends, I had the entire week to kind of let all the information sink in, make sure I'm understanding it, and make sure that I'm practicing it. Because as much as you learn what you learn in LSAT school, you're not going to do well if you don't personally internalize the information and do practice tests and time yourself and figure out if you can do what needs to be done in 35 minutes. By the time I came back to the class the second time, I kind of knew where I stood and what I needed to work on, and I could internalize the new information and just kind of reinforce the information that I already knew.
How about John himself? Did you like him as a teacher?
Well, the thing about John Richardson that I like the best is that he treats each student as an individual person, and he kind of tries to understand where each student is coming from when it comes to the LSAT questions. He doesn't really have one specific way of approaching a question type, so it's not like this is the way that you need to answer the question and this is how you're going to answer the question. Like, personally, I felt that because I wasn't lectured on a specific way of how to approach a question type, I benefited because with my own approach and with the help of John, I kind of figured out my own technique as opposed to just a standardized LSAT test approach.
After taking the course, how did you perform on the LSAT and were you admitted to law school?
I wrote the LSAT twice, once prior to taking the course, and then I took the course and wrote again. And the LSAT is ranked on a scale of 120 to 180, 120 being the lowest, 180 the highest. And originally I didn't do so well, but after taking the course, yes, I improved by 18 points on that scale, which is a significant percentile improvement. And yeah, I ultimately got admitted to a few schools, but I'm going to select Osgoode Hall Law School.
What was the most useful part of the course for you?
It helped structure the way that I was studying. It wasn't just a weird, random, throw me into the test kind of thing. Instead, it got me working in a routine in a way. I knew that I was coming to class, I was learning a technique, and I was going home and practicing it for a week and coming back again and making sure that I understood it. Being in a classroom atmosphere kind of made me do the work. I will admit that I would probably have been a lot more lazy if I didn't know that I had to come and feel prepared. So that, with a combination of the skills that I learned, was hugely helpful to me.
How was the course beneficial from a motivational standpoint?
You have a room full of people that are going through the same experience as you. So everyone's writing the LSAT, everyone's trying to get into law school, and everyone needs help. And because of that, I understood that I wasn't kind of going through this alone. There were other people that were also going through it. There were other people that were also finding the test challenging, and there were other people that were competing against me. With all that in mind, I knew where I needed to be, and I knew where I stood in comparison to others. So I knew that I had work to do, and I did it.
Would you recommend the course to other students? And if so, why?
My sister, who just graduated law school, also took the John Richardson prep program, and she's a lawyer now. So that's great. And I mean, like I said, I wrote the test twice also, once without any help and once with the John Richardson prep. You kind of need that little push. People assume that they know what they're doing when it comes to the LSAT because they have always done well in school, they've always done well on tests, this is just another test, they'll do well. That's not necessarily the case. Yes, of course there are people that do well, but most people I've noticed are kind of going into it a little bit blind. And John Richardson kind of helps clarify the process and clarify what the test really is. So it helped me get into law school. I assume it'll help a lot of other people get into law school as well.